stressful part, I'm sure, any artist would say, is funding.
Yeah.
How was that experience, man? Just trying to get out here, and as a young man, trying to let your art be heard to the people, and say, okay, all right, I need the money to do this. So
yeah.
How was that for you, man?
Well, you know, I'll speak about The Black Candle, which is my latest film. The Black Candle is a film, you know, that uses Kwanzaa as a vehicle to celebrate the African American experience. This is a film that's narrated by Dr. Maya Angelou. It features lots of people like Chuck D and Amiri Baraka and the creator of Kwanzaa himself, Dr. Karanga. And it's a really important film to me. And you talk about the financing part, and that's a instrumental part of filmmaking. You know, the other mediums, and the reason why I like some of the other mediums sometimes is because the other mediums don't require, if you want to write a poem, that you don't got to raise no money to do that. You know what I mean? You just write your poem, you know.
But you do if you want to publish a book.
Well, not if you get it published, you know, not if a publisher publishes it. Then, you know, if it's self-publishing, yeah, you would have to raise your money. But if not, then a publisher handles everything. So you just write your poems and, you know, if you want to write an essay, you just write it and it gets published. But with filmmaking, it's like you have this great idea, but now you need absorbent amount of money. And that can be tough and be tricky, you know, for all filmmakers. I think every filmmaker struggles with how they're gonna raise capital. For the latest film that we did, The Black Candle, we were really fortunate to have a team of investors who were really behind the project. You know, people who not only could give us the resources in terms of funding that we needed, but also the resources just in terms of the connections and resources that they brought to the table. So one of our executive producers is Kenny Gamble. Kenny Gamble, you know, wrote and produced over 150 gold and platinum records. He's a legend in the music industry. And, you know, he immediately gravitated toward this project, as well as Dr. Walter Lomax out of Philadelphia. So these two Philadelphia people were instrumental in funding the film. And you know, are still very instrumental. So we were able to raise money privately, independently through these investors. They became our executive producers, and we have, you know, a great relationship with them. But I guess for all the aspiring filmmakers out there, there are lots of ways to do it. You know, the logo for my film company, Asante Filmworks, is, you know, the Malcolm X picture.
Show the facts, man. Show the facts.
They can see it. I hope they can see it. But by any means necessary is the idea. And that just means get it done. You know, sometimes it'll be investors. Sometimes you might have to come out your own pocket. Sometimes you may get grants. Whatever it is, you got to get it done. You know, you got to get it done. I'm really inspired by the independent African-American pioneers that have led the way for me. You know, people like Oscar Michaud, who made over 44 feature films, you know, in a time when black folks were being lynched, you know, and couldn't vote. He was making films and made 44 feature films. Melvin Van Peebles, again, who paved the way and said, look, this is how I'm going to do it. I don't need you. I'm going to do it independently, and I'm going to make films that relate and affect my community. And he did that, and obviously his films, you know, were very instrumental in sparking black consciousness. But these are people who I get inspiration from. So whenever I run into obstacles, you know, I always say to myself, you know, I always think about Michaud, I think about Melvin Van Peebles, and I say, you know, if they were able to do it back then I have no excuse. So, you know, I have to do it. Get it done by any means necessary.
Let's back up a little bit, man. You beat me to the punch. Let's talk about your new film, The Black Candle.
Thank you.
I've seen it. Good film.
Thank you.
Very much needed.
Thank you.
You know, for those who may not know, this is a documentary which focuses on the African American holiday Kwanzaa.
Yeah.
And personally, from looking at it, my experience was I feel as though it's needed because it's a lot that's not known about the holiday.
Yeah.
Who was the founder?
Yeah.
Where it originated from?
Yeah.
Why do we celebrate?
Yeah.
The 7 principles.
Yeah.
It's a lot that's unknown.
Yeah.
Please touch on this film.
Yeah, I think, you know, there's, thank you so much. I think there's so much that's unknown about the holiday. And on top of that, there's so much that's unknown about our own culture and heritage, you know. I think the film is important because of that. I have this motto that I go by. If you make an observation, you have an obligation. So I always say that if you make an observation, you have an obligation. That's what informs all the art that I do. You know, I see something that isn't in place, and I try to put it there. I guess I think of myself as a kind of artistic void filler, you know. I like to fill voids. So when I ask myself, you know, how come there's no film that celebrates the African American experience through the prism of Kwanzaa, I asked myself, how come there's no film that does that, you know? And the answer was, I hadn't made the Black Candle yet, you know? So that became an obligation for me, to make a film that spoke to the needs of my community, and that spoke to, you know, the needs of what I saw as something that was important, something that needed to be taught, something that needed to be shown during the holiday, but throughout the whole year. Because I think the film is more than a film about Kwanzaa. I think it's a film that celebrates and explores what it means to be an African American, and does it in a way that inspires and encourages dialogue and empowers.
Elaborate on the title, The Black Candle.
Well, the Black Candle...
What's that symbolizes?
The Black Candle was so important for me because, you know, in Kwanzaa you have, you know, the 3 green candles, the 3 red candles, and the 1 black candle. Now, the 3 red candles represent our struggle for good and righteousness in the world. The green candles, you know, the 3 green candles represent the hope and purpose that come from that struggle. But the black candle represents our people, you know. And when I talk about the Black Candle as a film being more than a film about Kwanzaa, being a film about a people, a film that celebrates in the African American experience, to me, when I thought about the Black Candle, I said, that's it, the Black Candle, because this film is about us. And so that's where the title comes from. And then there's a great proverb that I ran into that just really touched me. The proverb said, it's an ancient African proverb. It says, a candle loses nothing by lighting another candle. I thought that was so important, even as a way to approach the world and to dialogue with the world. You know, everyone who's involved in this film was so helpful, was so open to us, and to me as a young man, as a young filmmaker. They were so open and so willing to give. You know, I think about Dr. Maya Angelou, who lit a candle for me, you know, and she lost nothing by lighting a candle for me. In fact, it made the room brighter. So I think that's how we should all, you know, kind of navigate in the world is, you know, you got something you want to do? Well, it actually helps me to light your candle because it makes the room brighter. It illuminates the room. So I think that the idea of the candle is so important.
Asante, in my opinion, what I see, you unapologetically black. You know, you love your people,
yes.
And you're definitely putting the work out there that exemplifies that.
Well, you know, brother, I want to thank you for the work that you're doing with Hue Voices. I've been on the website, excellent website. Your writings, you know, our work is, I can't do what I do without you doing what you do. So I really feel connected to you and appreciative of the work that you're doing because it's symbiotic, you know.
Appreciate that. Please, we run out of time, but please share with people other ventures you have going on right now and what is in MK Asante's future.
Well, you know, people, you can go to theblackcandle.com. That's our website, and you can do a message board. The DVD is available on the website. Also, you can go to my website, mkasante.com. Just came out with a new book called It's Bigger Than Hip Hop, which uses hip-hop as a springboard to examine social political issues that affect young people around the world. They can check that out. So mkasante.com and theblackcandle.com, and check out Hue Voices.
Thank you for your time.
All right, man. Thank you, brother. Peace.
Thank you for watching HueVoices.com. Again, I'm your host, The People's Pen, Bobby Marvin.